Hello everyone, and welcome to another long-awaited Draw With Me. Today we are going to be doing some hair studies, and this one I've already done prior, just to kind of get into the groove of things before I started filming, just in case, because anything could happen. I do apologize for not making a Draw With Me in a while. As I said last video, the footage for one of them was out of focus the entire time, and also I've just been like slacking, and also school started again because it's fall, so that's the thing now too. But as you can see, I am practicing drawing hair because if you have been following me over the last, I think, month or two, I've been practicing drawing different parts of the human face, and now I'm just kind of moving on to the rest of the head, because it has been one of my goals this year to improve my human anatomy, just because a lot of my favorite artists are really good at drawing just people, and I would like to get up to that level of just, I don't know, whatever it is. So we're doing hair today, and as you saw, I already did the straight hair, and now I'm moving on to curls. Curls? This was actually these are really fun actually. It's just I could have chosen a much easier color to work with, because as you see in the reference, the person has highlights but also like an ombre to the hair, which made rendering really tricky, I think. It still turned out nice, it just wasn't my favorite. And then obviously the last hair we will be doing, which you'll see later, is really curly hair, like coils basically. So it's an afro, and I'm really happy with how that one turned out too. But anyways, I thought I'd do a voiceover today because I just don't want to type a bunch of subtitles. And also it's kind of hard to watch a draw with me when you have to read as well. So just making it easier for you guys, I think. I don't know, let me know what you think about the voiceover. But going back to the draw with me, as you can see, my main, I guess, strategy for doing curls was a lot of just wispy, fluid, loose motions. And the brush I'm using is called, I believe, Ink Roll. I basically use this to block in large colors, and then I can make the brush smaller and use other brushes for smaller details. Yeah, but I'm just kind of going in, just looking at the reference and looking for just kind of big blocks of color, which is why you see me placing random splotches of really dark brown everywhere. And another reason I wanted to do these hair studies is because I want to draw myself a new profile photo, which I'm actually working on as I'm doing the voiceover. I think I shared the sketch in my Discord server. But yeah, I wanted to kind of know how to do hair before I started doing that, because that would just kind of be a little awkward. Another one of my inspirations, I guess, for the way I rendered the hair was Sandoz Arts and Arcane. Obviously, I like the way Sandoz Arts has a lot of detail in his hair, but like the brush strokes aren't super complicated. And then Arcane, I don't think I have to explain, like their art style is just so delicious and everything. Another thing I do want to mention, like as I said earlier, because school started up, videos will be less frequent. I mean, my long form videos weren't frequent to begin with, but my short form videos, I think I would post on like 1-2 every week, but now that's gonna probably be less because I'm gonna have to focus on academics and being a nerd. Actually, we're gonna move on. But as you can see, I'm just kind of adding the highlights to the curls now. That's another thing I've noticed with curls is highlights are one of the big, I guess, key points in rendering curls, and there's just, like, if you look at the reference, there's so many, and it's so complicated. And it's just like, I applaud people who can draw hair in hyperrealism, because that would be the death of me. I would be 6 feet under if I tried to render this in hyperrealism. The way Alberto Mielgo, I think I really just butchered his name, I'm sorry. I love the way he draws hair on his characters. If you don't know, I think he was like one of the artists for the Spider-Verse, and he is a Oscar-winning director. But I love the way he draws hair on his characters. It's so nice. So that was also, I think, one of my other inspirations for the hair. I really wanted to focus capturing, I guess, the volume and the vibe of the hair rather than the realism and like each individual little strand as it catches the light, because you and me both know that I would be sitting here for hours drawing hair, and I just don't like doing that. But yeah, and then another thing for drawing curls that's very different from drawing straight hair is it's just like a lot of layering, a lot of swishes on top of each other. Again, you should know where your light source is coming from, but when you start layering, it starts to look a lot better. Yeah, again, these curls that I'm drawing right now weren't my favorite, but they weren't bad. So I'm just going in, adding some smaller details, polishing some things up, and then we are going to move on to adding smaller details. So after all of, like, I guess the main rendering is done, now I'm going in with just an inking brush and adding individual strands of hair. Make it a bit more realistic, but also it's fun to just like make big ol' loops of like hair strands, and it looks really nice. And then I'm gonna go in with a rake brush I made because Procreate doesn't really have one. The closest thing to a rake brush in Procreate is called, I believe, the Thylakine brush, which I also use, but I just go in with that over highlights in certain like chunks of hair to give it more detail, but also it adds a little personal touch. It also really helps like sell hair strands a lot better than if I was drawing a lot of individual ink lines. It just makes the process a lot easier, and I don't know, I really like the way it looks. And then that's basically it for this hair. I'm gonna go in with some color grading, just to make things look a little bit better. And then it's done, and we can move on to the afro. So the afro, as you will see in a second, the reference image I used wasn't great for lighting. It's kind of dark, and I kind of realized that like halfway through rendering, but I still pushed through, and I think it turned out fine. The afro is actually one of my favorite hairs to render, because after blocking in the colors and where to go, because it's really tight, fine curls, I'm gonna take either the rake or Thylakine brush and just add squiggles and circles of hair, and that helps make it realistic, but also it helps like show how voluptuous and curly the hair is without having to add too much detail. And again, the way I'm going about, I guess, laying the base colors in is kind of like the way traditional painters will go about it. There's a base coat, and then I go in with more and more defined colors and sections of color. I started off with an awfully bright brown though, even though, like, as you can see in the reference, the hair is quite dark. It's almost black. I think it might be. but there's obviously highlights around it. So it definitely took a lot longer than it should have been to render, but I still like how it turned out. So around this time is when I didn't really like how the hair was looking, especially just like the highlights were looking a little too bright, and the contrast, especially around the outside of the hair, didn't sit right with me. So I took the Thylacine brush, took a really dark brown, and I was just kind of going over everything with an extra coat to kind of help blend it out, but also kind of start clean again. Just because I really was not exactly happy with how it was looking at the time. And I'm really glad I did this because it ended up looking a lot better. We are at the end of the video and the drawing. I'm just adding some extra squiggles and liquefying it to give the hair a lot more volume because it felt really flat to me. But then all I had to go in with some chromatic aberration and noise to make it look a bit, I don't know, realistic? I don't know what it does. I just like it. And then I went in with my signature, and then we are finished. Thank you all so much for watching this draw with me. I'm hoping to do more in the future. It's just, school is probably going to take up a lot of time. I'm really happy with how all of these turned out, and I hope you guys like them too. The drawing is in my Discord and in my ArtStation. Join the Discord server as well, because I post updates and sneak peeks to drawings as well. Thank you for watching. I will see you all in the next one.
What the dog doing?